Prabhuji retired from family life and have been preaching and traveling all around the world, and ISKCON right now. Prabhuji is also initiating Guru. He has a lot of disciples, and there is also a very thriving community in America, in Arizona, ISKCON Tuition, and there are a lot of news from. I always read about ISKCON Tuition in the iskonnews.org, and we are very very fortunate for Prabhuji's association, and we'll welcome him by loudly chanting 3 times Hariva, Hariva, Hariva.
It's very kind words of you to say. The truth of the matter is, when I'm here, I feel like a mouse that's in a room full of elephants. All of you are giant devotees. So, Srila Prabhupada is allowing me to associate with you so I can make some advancement. And I can't tell you how much pleasure it is to be in ISKCON Newtown. I was supposed to be here a month ago, but I had difficulties with visas for the first time ever. So it was like Gorny Tyre saying, if you want to come and see me and my devotees,
you're going to have to work for it. I want you to want me. And so my heart is partly, please, please. And then finally, the visa came, and here I am. So it is a great pleasure. I don't have words to describe the pleasure that I have when I come to ISKCON Newtown and have your association. So, thank you all for having me as your guest. I'll try to not be too much trouble while I'm here.
if I get to be a nuisance, please let me know, will you? It's okay. You can just say you're being a nuisance. So, just let me know. Don't pretend that I'm not being a nuisance, okay? That would be dishonest. Say it from the heart. You're a nuisance. Too demanding. Old people get demanding sometimes, don't they? So, today's class is in the beautiful Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, chapter 87, text 24. Is it? Yeah. Kahi anuveda bhattavara jannalayo grasaram yatha ugad rishyam anudeva gana ubhaye Tari nasanna chasad ubayam nacha kalajava kimapi na tatra sastram avakrishya sat sayitayada iha nuveda bhattavara janmalayo grasaram yata ugad rishyam anudevagana ubhaye tari nasanna jasad ubayam na kala java kimapina tatra sastram avakrishya krishya saitayada kahiyunveda bhattavara janmalai layo grasaram yathat ugrad rishyam anudeva gana ubhaye Tarina sanna
Kapi na tatra sastram avakrishya saita yada who iha in this world knew indeed Veda knows Vata ah oh Vata ah Avara recent Janma whose birth Laya and annihilation Akrasaram came first. Yataha from whom? Who did that arose? Rishi, the learned sage. Brahma, Brahma. Yam Anu, following whom? Brahma. Devagataha, the groups of demigods. Ubhaye, both those who control the senses and those who live in the regions above the heavenly planets. Tarhi, at that time, no, sat, gross matter, no, cha, also asat, subtle matter, obhayam, that which is comprised of both, namely, the material bodies. Na cha,
Jala, the flow. King apina, not at all. Tatra, there. Shastram, authoritative scripture. About Krishna, withdrawing. Saita, the Supreme Lord, lies down. Yada, when? Translation. Everyone in this world has recently been born and will soon die. So how can anyone here know him who existed prior to everything else and who gave rise to the first learned sage, Brahma, and subsequent demigods, both lesser and greater? When he lies down and withdraws everything within himself, nothing else remains. No gross or subtle matter or bodies composed of these, no force of time or revealed scriptures. So I'll say it, you can repeat. Everyone in this world has recently been born and will soon die. So how can anyone here know him who existed prior to everything else, and who gave rise to the first learned sage, Brahma, and also subsequent demigods, both lesser and greater? When he lies down and withdraws everything within himself, nothing else remains. No gross or subtle matter or bodies composed of these, no force of time or revealed scripture. Purport. Here the Shrutis express the difficulty of knowing the supreme. Devotional service or bhakti yoga, as described in these prayers of the personified Vedas, is the surest and easiest path to knowledge of the Lord and to liberation. In comparison, the philanthropic search for knowledge, known as Jnana Yoga, is very difficult. Favored, though, by it is by those who are disgusted with material life, but still unwilling to surrender to the Lord. As long as the finite soul remains envious of the Lord's supremacy, the Lord does not reveal himself. As he states in the Bhagavad Gita 9:25, Naram Prakasha Sarvasya Yogamaya Samavritaha Udyoyam Nabhijanati Lokamam Ajam Avyayam. I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. In the words of Lord Brahma, Pantus Duko Disatasa Vatsara Sampravai Muni Sampanga Sopi Asadyat I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. Only the tip of the toe of whose lotus feet is approached by the yogis who aspire after the transcendental and betake themselves to pranayama by drilling the
respiration, or by the jnanis who search out the undifferentiated Brahman by the process of illumination of the mundane, extending over thousands, millions of years. Brahma Samhita 534. Brahma, the firstborn living being in this universe, is also the foremost sage. He is born from
Narayan and from him appear the hosts of demigods, including both the controllers of the earthly activities and the rulers of heaven. All these powerful and intelligent beings are relatively recent productions of the Lord's creative energy. As the first speaker of the Vedas, Lord Brahma should know their purport at least as well as any other authority. But even he knows the personality of Godhead only to a limited extent. As Srimad Bhagavatam states, 1.3.35, the Lord of the heart hides himself deep within the confidential recesses of the Vedic sound. If Brahma and the demigods born from him cannot easily know the Supreme Lord, then how can mere mortals expect success in their independent pursuit of knowledge? As long as this creation lasts, living beings face many obstacles on the path of knowledge because of identifying themselves with their material coverings consisting of body, mind, and ego, and acquire all sorts of prejudices and misconceptions, even if they have divine scripture to guide them and the opportunity to execute the prescribed methods of karma, jnana, and yoga. The conditioned souls have but little power for gaining knowledge of the Absolute, and when the time of annihilation comes, the Vedic scriptures and their regulative injunctions become unmanifest, leaving the dormant jivas completely in darkness. Therefore, we should abandon our futile endeavors for knowledge without devotion and simply surrender ourselves to the Supreme Lord's mercy, heeding the advice of Lord Brahma. Janma prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sant. Bhagavatam stane stita shruti-gantam tadvari madhavi ye prayaso jita jito pyas asita taistrilokyam. Those, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process, those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge, and with their body, words, and mind, offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.3. In this regard, Upanishad 2.4.1 refers to the Supreme as Yato Vacho Vivartate Apravyamanasasana, where words cease and where the mind cannot reach. The Upanishad, the Isha Upanishad states, Hanikami kam amanaso jivayo naita deva purvamasaprasa tanta davato yam eti tishnan kasmina kumar yeshiva nanati. Although fixed in his abode, the personality of Godhead is more swift than the mind and can overcome all others running. The powerful demigods cannot approach him. Although in one place he controls those who supply the air and rain, he surpasses all in excellence. In the Rig Veda 3.54.5, we find this mantra: Uta Vedakai Aprabhochat Uta Avyanta Uta Iyam Vishna Srishti Arva Deva Ish Jena who in this world actually knows and who can explain whence this creation has come. The demigods, after all, are younger than the creation. Who then can tell whence this world has come into being? Srila Sridhar Swami thus prays, Vaham Buddhyadi Samrudana Vas Jadvana Manastva Tava Dina Bando Daya Sindho Bhakti Me Haredisha. What am I? A being entrapped by the material coverings of worldly intelligence, and so on. And what are your glories by comparison, O Almighty One, O friend of the fallen, O ocean of mercy, Lord Nrihari, please bless me with your devotional service. Om Agant Vritasya Gananjana Shalakaya Jakshwa Mundilitamjina Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. It's a very wonderful verse, huh? Once again, the translation. Everyone in this world has recently been born and will soon die. So how can anyone here know him who existed prior to everything else and who gave rise to the learned sage Brahma and also subsequent demigods, both lesser and greater? When he lies down and withdraws everything within himself, nothing else remains. No gross or subtle matter or bodies composed of these, no force of time or revealed scripture. So, when we read this verse, think, what does this mean? At that time, when the Lord withdraws everything into him, what's left? It's like when we escape the atmosphere of the earth, we're in ether, outer space. People consider that as nothingness. It's nothing. When you get out of the atmosphere, it's void. I was told when I was in school that ether is like a vacuum. There's nothing. And yet, we learn from higher intelligence that ether is something. Subtle, but it's something. Now, when the Lord withdraws everything within him, that includes us, we go. And all of the gross and subtle materials, earth, water, fire, air, and ether, mind, intelligence, false ego, what does that leave? This is the true definition of nothing. Nothing. So this is nothing beyond what we thought is nothing. You know, it's like in one pocket you may have some rupees, and in another pocket you have no rupees. So you could say, in this pocket I have nothing. Well, no, that's not true. It's full. It says we can't see on this biggest scale. Why? Because we're not interested. We're not interested to go there on our own. All of you are fortunate. We're fortunate because we're together here and we're hearing from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, would you ever think of this? Would you ever try to truly define nothing? Why? You, us, we didn't even know what nothing was until we read Srimad Bhagavatam. Now you tell that to the average person on the street. You don't know what nothing is. They're going to become offended. How dare you say that to me? Why? I'm the chief executive officer of XYZ company. Just look at my bank account. So you can't tell me that I don't know. Well, you never thought about that. Why? Because you're distracted. We've met people like this, haven't we? When you're preaching, you meet people, they say, "Oh, you don't tell me that." I know. Because they're starting to surrender to you as you're preaching to them. And they start to realize, this man knows more than I know. This lady knows more than I know. So at some point, false ego kicks in. Well, I can't let her tell me. I can't let him tell me. Why, he's not a chief executive officer of anything. When it comes to nothing, you're the CEO of nothing. I'm the CEO of lots. See? So at some point, his ego gets touched. And now he starts to see that you know more, but we can't go there. No, you don't tell me. I know what nothing is. Well, actually, you don't. Many people think that ether is nothing. We have been taught, no, ether is something. It exists. It has a purpose. So, as we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we start to gain real knowledge. And this real knowledge, if we're very fortunate, and if we're surrendered, if we're sincere in true self-development, we will lose our attachment step by step. We'll lose our attachment to what we think we know, our position. People struggle so hard for their position. PhD, fighting to get a good job, fighting to get promotions, fighting to mate. I have to have a proper mate because I'm special. Why, I'm a chief executive officer. I can't have just an average spouse. I deserve better. I don't deserve just an average car. I deserve better. So you can see, I'm distracted. I'm distracted by these things. And we know many people in business, and they struggle so hard, even though they may start to try to develop some spiritual life. Still, that struggle is there. I have to maintain my position. I have to maintain my identity. So what is my identity? My identity is what I want you to think I am. Have you ever seen a little child and they're playing a game? Maybe they're pretending to be a policeman. You ever seen that? They're not a policeman. But they want you to see them as a policeman. Don't they? And if you say, "You're not a policeman, get out of here," they're going to go, "Oh, you just smashed my game. You smashed my illusion." Because I was being a policeman, I had a badge, a policeman hat, maybe a gun, I had. And so in my mind, I have this illusion that I'm a policeman. And if you say, "Oh, Mr. Policeman, you're a very nice policeman," then You're recognizing my illusion. And I like that. You don't tell me that I'm not a policeman. Therefore, you're my friend. You see? You're recognizing, you're playing along with my illusion. So the chief executive officer is like that as well. He wants you to play along with his illusion. He believes, I'm chief executive officer. Now, here's my business card. You see? He wants you, we, the devotees of Krishna, we know, no, you're part and parcel of Krishna. You're far, far above any chief executive officer could ever be. That position of chief executive officer is some temporary, illusory thing. And typically when people have some position, they want you to think their position is even bigger than it really is, isn't it? Because they're like the kid playing policeman. I want you to play along. Why? I'm the big chief executive officer. So I want your respect. And if you play along with my illusion, then you're my friend. And I like you. If you don't, you're not my friend. You're my enemy. So I'm distracted by this game that I'm playing in my mind, and I'm trying to play with your mind too. You see, I'll dress a certain way, and I want you to believe that I'm so wealthy, and I have such good taste. You know? So they're distracted by all this pursuit. And so they can recognize to a degree that you're more spiritually advanced. And as they associate with you, and as they hear you, and as they feel your love for them, and your desire to help them, then they start to become not so distracted to everything else. They become attracted to you. Why? Because you could be the very first that they ever felt this feeling from. Isn't it like that when we're preaching? You see, when you preach to people, they have that awakening moment. They connect the dots. You just gave them some realization that they didn't have before. You see, you've actually taken them to a higher level of consciousness. You're telling them, you're not this body. You're part and parcel of Krishna. And you explain to them what that means. What does it mean to be? We should actually meditate on that. What does it mean for me to be part and parcel of the Supreme? It means I have no fear. My fear is an illusion for a part and parcel of Krishna. Well, it means that as God is eternal, I am eternal. Part of God doesn't die. I'm part of God. I will never die. As part and parcel of God, I have all of his opulences, just not as much. You see? So as we explain this to people and they start to understand this, you're taking away their focus on their distractions of making more money, finding a better spouse, a younger spouse, a bigger car, a bigger house. You're getting them to focus off the mundane, and there's focusing on the absolute truth. And at that point, you're teaching them how to hear. Have you ever noticed people in the material world, when they talk, it's kind of like, at least in America, I noticed people, they'll talk, one person talks, and then another person talks. person may say, my son is going to go to Yale University. Then as soon as you finish talking, the other person says, well, my son is going to go to Harvard. So you did something, I outdid it. You see, that's nature. It's like playing tennis. I'm going to glorify me. But because I'm polite, I'll let you glorify you. And then, because you really outdid me, I've got to glorify myself some more. And then you glorify yourself some more. So it goes back and forth like that. You see, what do they call it? One-upsmanship. Is that the word? Yeah, you do, and I try to outdo. So this is the nature of the material world. This is what we do. Those of us who are in human bodies, we're more sophisticated at one-upsmanship. We're more sophisticated in demonstrating to everyone else that I'm superior to you. You see? Now the animals can do that too. They do that. Some animals, monkeys will beat on their chest. Ooh. And then the other monkey will, ooh, ooh. The lion may growl, roar. And the other lion, roar. They're doing the same thing. Until one of them admits, oh, your roar is louder. So we're, in these human bodies, we're more sophisticated. So we can use words. I can try my best to give you the illusion. It's like there's a fish. I don't know the name. There's a fish that when it's encountered by another fish, it blows itself up. Makes it bigger. What's it? Do you know the name of that? What is the name of that? Some fish that does like that. So it's an illusion. The fish is really like this big. But when you scare him, he gets like this big. He's really this big. The size is all air. It is an illusion. But it works. Well, the other animals go, ooh. Punch your go put the rooster. You see, so if you analyze, this material world is so full of distractions. We need to not just say that this world is full of distractions. We have to analyze and define what are these distractions. Anything and everything but your spiritual development. Anything and everything but Krishna is a distraction. Even if you say, no, I've become serious about spiritual life. I'm going to read, and then I'm going to speculate. You see, that's a distraction. Your Gyan Yoga is a distraction. It's distracting you from, as it says in the purport, it's distracting you from surrendering to Krishna, which is the ultimate purpose of existence. Surrendering to Krishna. We're here to surrender to Krishna. If we were in the spiritual world, we would already be surrendered to Krishna, wouldn't we? We wouldn't have any distraction. What is the distraction in the spiritual world? Everything points to Krishna. Every activity, every word, every thought, every step. Everything points to Krishna. Krishna is the center. That is why we decided to leave. Why should everybody be focused on this Krishna anyway? I mean, when it gets right down to it, what does he have that I don't have? I want to be the center of attention. And if you put me in the center of your attention, then I could say, perhaps we're friends. Maybe even, I might even love you. Of course, I don't really know what love is, because I left the world of love and I came to this world of competition. The material world is a world of competition. Every moving, living entity is competing. They're all trying to eat each other. Everything is trying to eat something else. That's real competition, you see. In the spiritual world, is there competition? Huh? How many people say, no competition? How many? How many people say, yeah, there is competition? There is competition. I want to be alone with Krishna. And you want to be alone with Krishna. So I have to serve him very nicely. I have to attract him. Not that I'm going to put you down. I'm not going to go say, hey, Krishna, this guy is such a jerk. Where did you get this guy? Why, you should focus on me. Look at this. Huh? Now look at that. Which would you rather have, Krishna? That or this? There's nothing like that in the spiritual world. This is the material world. We do that in the material world. I try to attract Krishna by trying to serve him. Maybe better than you, but not to put you down. Don't want to put you down. Because we're all part and parcel of Krishna. And in the spiritual world, we know that. There's no doubt. We don't have to be convinced of that, you see. So, I found it fascinating when I read the last part of this verse. When he lies down and withdraws everything within himself, nothing else remains. No gross or subtle matter or bodies composed of these. No force of time or revealed scripture. I started to think, this is the definition of the material world. Krishna pulls everything in and releases everything back out. You see? So, I should probably pause now. So I should pause for some questions, or else I'll talk and everyone will go to sleep. I'm surprised you've been able to stay awake so far. You must have gotten very good sleep last night. Someone told you that I was giving class, so you went to bed at 7 o'clock. So I could sleep. So, any questions or discussion? Yes, Prabhuji. You can ask questions, or we'll have discussion, or you can criticize. If you want to criticize, you can criticize. So is this a question or criticism?
Question. So Prabhuji was speaking about material world is world of competition. In spiritual world also there is competition, but that is transcendental competition. So my question is like, we are staying within the devotee association, which is kind of
spiritual world, but within the material realm. So, and we are performing devotional service along with our peers and other devotees, and everyone in there, all are in different stages of devotional service. So sometimes we feel that there is a inferiority complex, that I am not able to perform devotional service at a level that others are able to do. So that creates a sort of negativity. So that creates a sort of frustration. So my question is that, and sometimes envy, that is also there. So what should be our proper attitude, even if we are not able to perform devotional service at a level that others are in, and how to still be happy within that association?
Excellent question. This is an excellent question. We should always feel this way. You say, when I see that I cannot perform devotional service as well as you, that there can create some negativity, right? So at that point, it's like when you're traveling down a road and the road splits. Then you can go, you either go this way or you go that way. When you get to that point where you realize I'm not as good a devotee as you, I don't think I ever will be. That's the crossroads. Don't let it become negative. If I surrender to negativity, then I will start to find fault with you. You see? Turn it into a positive, rather than saying, wow, I'm not as good a devotee as him. But that's good. I should be happy. That's good realization. In my own estimation, if I start thinking I'm as good a devotee as you, then I'm no longer lower than the straw in the street, am I? When Lord Chaitanya said, consider yourself lower than the straw in the street, giving respect on everyone, he didn't talk anything about becoming negative. No, this is proper behavior. This is proper understanding. No matter who you think you are, you should see, how can I possibly measure up to these souls? It's not possible. No matter how high your position is, I can never be. I'm lower than the straw under their feet. But that's good, because I have them to guide me and to help me advance. You see, it's not a negative. This is good. These people that are far superior to me, well, they're like my shelter. We've all had that experience, haven't we? Where we meet some devotee far superior, and they give you shelter. Well, they become everything to you. They become your dearmost friend. It's very positive. So we worship the devotees. Krishna worships the Brahmins. If we want to please Krishna, and we see someone who's a very good advanced devotee, then we have to realize this person is making Krishna very happy. You see? And once my heart is cleansed a little bit, then I can appreciate this person. Before it's cleansed, I may become envious. Who does he think he is? Why is he always acting like that? You know? So that's the negativity comes in and it makes me think like that. Now, we should applaud. I want to advance as much as I possibly can, but I can only do that with your help. Maybe in a previous life I was a Jnani yogi, and I could just speculate. But Srila Prabhupada has taught me that I can't get what I want, what I truly want, pure loving devotional service, through speculation. So I need this association. And I don't mean that figuratively. I depend on it. I have to have it. Otherwise, how will I advance? But it is not uncommon for one devotee to see how nicely you're advancing, or how nicely you've advanced, and become envious. What does that mean? I'm envious, so I start to find fault with you. I'm thinking, maybe he sees how advanced you are too. Why, he sees you more advanced than me. Why, you're a pretender. You're not that good a devotee, you're just pretending. You see, we start to think like that. So immediately when we get to that point and we realize that everyone else is a better devotee than me, what's wrong with that? How is that bad? That will give you a feeling of real security. Because I'm surrounded by everyone who's better than me. Well, I'm protected. Knowledge is available to me. Methodology of being a devotee, I can learn from you. You see? So we become attracted to that person, rather than trying to reject them because they're so advanced. We see someone that's really advanced, and our mind tries to tell us, he's not that really advanced. Why? He's a sahaja. He's pretending. And all of these people who see him as advanced, they've never looked at me. What about me? This what about me is what got us into this material world to begin with. For us, the part and parcel of Krishna, what about me is foreign. We don't work that way. In the liberated stage, we don't think like that. When we start to think, what about me? Then it's time for me to pack my bags and catch the next flight down to the material world. And then you can become a CEO or some other nonsense thing. You know? Why, you can devote your life, your very health and well-being, to pursuing this illusory persona that you want people to see when they look at you. That is sahaja. That's pretender. So, when we're here in this material world, we're surrounded by people who are pretending to be something that they're not. There was a Greek philosopher, Sophocles. I think he was Greek. Was he Greek? Anyway, I'm not that intelligent. You're all more educated and more intelligent than me. But Sophocles, he had this theory that no matter how wealthy or how popular you are, You'll always try to pretend to be a little bit more than you really are. That's known as sophistication. Why, in the material world, people give you that as a compliment. Why, he's so sophisticated. Sophocles was meaning, you're just a big pretender. Why, if I doubled your wealth, you would still try to pretend to be a little bit more than you are. Sophocles associated with wealthy, famous, powerful people, and he noticed that. No matter how powerful you are, you always add a little bit to it. Imagine. So in the material world, we say, oh, this is very sophisticated. That's not a compliment. When we say, why, he's so humble, that's compliment. You see? So, which would we rather be surrounded by? Materialists that are sophisticated, pretending to be more than they are? Or devotees? And let's say these devotees are pretending to be more advanced than they are. Which would you rather have? At least at some point, if this sophisticated devotee, if he continues chanting Hare Krishna, the process will work. He'll become purified. Sophistication will leave. Humility will come. This process of Krishna consciousness, this bhakti yoga, it works. It never fails. So if I have to be in the midst of pretenders, let them be Vaishnavas. Is that a good answer? Does that make any sense? Wonderful question. I can see you got some good sleep last night. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you were telling about that how we get always caught up by the illusion that I am CEO or I am a policeman, different illusions, and we forget our real identity as part and parcel of Krishna. So can you give some suggestions how to make sure that, because this is the route that we have to work upon, this is very important, but I see in my case that although we have heard so much, so many times we have heard, we have read also, we have tried to remind ourselves, but still that wrong identity is very deep rooted, and again and again we forget that we are connected to Krishna, we are part and parcel of Krishna, we are servant of Krishna. Rather, the other identities come that I am this, I am that, I am great, I am I am this body, and all these identities are very deep rooted. So how to cut this deep rooted identities?
Another excellent question. Krishna will help us, but it's driven by desire. If we have a sincere desire to remember that I am part and parcel of Krishna, he will help you. How will he help? How does he help? Does he just like do a little magic in your mind? Ding. Probably not. So, he says, so I see that you're feeling sincere. You want to remember that you are my eternal fragmental part and parcel. So then I need to help you take shelter of that. It's not just something that you know or that you believe. You have to take shelter of it. And so, Krishna may send you some difficulty. Send you some struggle. Maybe some pain, hurt, distress. until you say, Krishna, I need you. I can't do this without you. I beg you, Krishna. I'm your eternal part and parcel. Please help me. So, from time to time, we actually need, unless you're a devotee, highly advanced, you may not need that help from Krishna, but most of us do, don't we? Therefore, there's some distress. Enough distress that we cry out, Krishna, help! I need you, Krishna. This is good training. Suffering can be very helpful. For the devotees, suffering can be, not that we want to artificially impose suffering on ourselves or each other, but when we come into a difficult time, that's Krishna's mercy. When we get into a difficult time, we should be looking for Krishna. Krishna, where are you? Because it's like a child. You know how they have maybe, let's say at Puri, Rath Yatra. There's husband, wife, family, a few children, and you are one of the children, and your family has taken you to Rath Yatra. And so your mother says, now don't wander off. You'll get lost. And you're like, yeah, okay. But I want to go have some Pani Puri. Stay close. So then you wander off. You get distracted and you wander off. And then you realize, wait, where is Mataji? Where is Mita? Oh, I'm alone. Mommy! So then you're coming back to the realization, the value of your mother and her instruction. Mother told you, don't wander off. Stay with the family. But you didn't listen. So now here you are in distress, maybe crying, oh, Mommy, no. So then when you see your mother, she's, come, here I am. You run into her arms and you're so happy. Before you were crying out of distress. But once you found your mother and you're in her arms, you're crying out of joy. So you're realizing through this distress, my mother, my father, I'm so much thankful. So it's like that. Krishna will allow you to wander away a little bit sometimes, put you into a little bit of distress until you look around. I'm suffering. I don't know what to do. Krishna! So that's the process. So this is the process. Well, until we get the intelligence, we need a little bit of suffering from time to time. And it's never going to stop. Krishna will put you in anxiety from time to time. Now, why will he do that? Because he loves the taste of your love. Krishna loves the taste of your affection. So he'll put you in distress sometimes to make you want him more. I wanted to come to Newtown, but the government of India says we're not going to give you a visa. Up until that, I had to apply for a visa. Up until then, why? I knew I'm going to India. I'm going to India on 11 October. Why, I'm going to be on that plane. I was telling people. They were saying, can you do some project on 20th October. Oh no, I'm going to be on the plane. Then, or any time make that difficult, they say, well, let me just give you this visa. Now what will you do? Oh, I'm in distress. I mean, really, it affected my health. I couldn't sleep. I was so upset. For a month. Begging, oh, please, Krishna, let me. I took you for granted. I took you for granted. I thought I could just go, get a visa, get on a plane, and go. All it takes is a ticket and a visa. No. What did I say? I want you to want me. I want you to want me so bad that you feel distress in your heart. That tastes good to Krishna. To know how much. He deserves to know how much you love him. Isn't it? He's the supreme lover. He deserves to taste your love. Play along. Give him what he wants. This is bhakti yoga. Giving God what he wants. If he wants you to demonstrate your love and your loyalty, give it to him. Don't complain. Oh, you're making me suffer. Why? I thought I could just buy a ticket, get a visa, and go. Now you're making me struggle. You see? That's okay. It's uncomfortable when we're suffering, but when the suffering is over, then we feel so good. And because of that, I was in anxiety all the way. It's 27 hours travel time. All the way I'm in anxiety. Because he made me suffer to want. Intensified my desire. And until I got off the plane in Kolkata, I couldn't breathe a sigh of relief. As soon as I got through immigration, I felt strong, happy. My health was coming back. All of this because I was in anxiety. You know? I was in anxiety. I want to go. I want to see Krishna's devotees. So Krishna loves that taste of your loving desire. So give it to him. If we can figure out a way to give it to him without the suffering, maybe that's good too. Maybe we can do that on a daily basis. Have our moment with Krishna. My dear Lord, I don't know how to express it, but I'm so thankful to you. I am so attached. Why? I can't live without you. I truly cannot exist without you. We can do a little bit of that, maybe every day, maybe several times a day. Maybe then we don't have to suffer. Is that all right? Suffering, whenever we're suffering, it's just Krishna's mercy. It's nothing else. You can't say, well, it's his fault. He caused my suffering. Krishna's behind it somewhere. Now, for the karmi, you're not thinking of Krishna being in control. For the devotee, no, we know you're in control, Krishna. It's not his fault. It's not his fault. I mean, maybe it is, but they're acting as an instrument of Krishna. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much, all of you. It's a real pleasure to be back. And wonderful ISKCON Newtown and to have your association. Please give me some service, some way I can serve you. I've been longing for it for so long. So please, please, allow me to serve you in some way. That will please Srila Prabhupada, our wonderful Lord Nitai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.